Have you ever felt like your life is in shambles? Being left wondering, where did everything go wrong? Chances are, about 50% of you watching have felt like this before, and these are the effects from having a negative perception of life. Why is this important, you may ask? Well, your perception of life is one of the most, if not the most important aspect of how you will live it and what type of person you will become. Yes, I'm saying that the exact person you are today has all been influenced by your perception of your life. Take this as an example. You're a 35-year-old McDonald's worker called Bob, being paid minimum wage and living in a one-bath, one-bedroom apartment with your pet goldfish. A pretty sad life, you'd say. But if you ask this guy how his life has been going, he'd say he's chilled. He loves a minimalistic lifestyle with no love interest. And quite frankly, working in fast food is one of his dream jobs. And what point am I trying to prove? Well, if you were put in Bob's place, there's no doubt that you would be an overall depressing person to be around. You most likely would have given up on basic social standards, rejecting hygiene and rotting inside your apartment, praying that you don't wake up. But Bob is an overall happy person. So what's going on here? Well, to do this, we need to go through the 5 areas of perception. And that starts with breaking down what subjective actually means. You see, your experience of reality depends on you. And if you're willing to do something about it, I already know what you're saying. Easier said than done, random guy who I don't even know. But let me break the news to you. Your brain isn't designed to make you happy. It's designed to keep you alive. That means that it's constantly scanning for problems, threats, or things that could go wrong. So even if your life is objectively fine, your brain would still give you flashbacks to what you looked like back in 2020. Apparently, this is called negativity bias. It's when we naturally focus on the bad more than the good. This can turn even the most luxurious and blessed lifestyle into a repeating cycle of hell, just because your Bugatti doesn't have that V10 supercharged twin turbo engine that you always wanted. Like, you don't need it, but your brain overcomplicates your life into this spiral of depression and sadness because it's just barely out of your reach. Stuff like this can be applied to everyday life all the time. 10-year-old you could complain about how you didn't get the new PS4 for Christmas, yet there's a village in Africa that are playing with a worn-out soccer ball and having the time of their lives. Oh, you see what I did there? Yeah, that's called the first world versus third world paradox. There are studies showing that in some lower income countries, people report higher levels of happiness than those in wealthier nations. Even though many go against the claim that money can't buy happiness, there is an exception. And that is if there is never any introduction to a life of luxury, then there is no want or need to have a better lifestyle that your brain dreams of achieving. You ever been to that rich friend's house, realized how good their life is, and then come back to your sad, dull, middle-class life where you question how you've been living your whole life without an RTX 5090 gaming PC? This is the same situation. People in wealthier countries often have higher expectations, more comparison thanks to social media, and more pressure to succeed. So even though life is objectively better, more comfort means more convenience. Meanwhile, in less developed areas, expectations are lower, community is stronger, and gratitude is more common. So life naturally feels more fulfilling. And that brings us to our second area, comparison. People don't compare their lives to reality. They compare it to highlight reels and social media, which is well known for showcasing people's lives as a perfect utopia. You'll hear about some kid who's half your age making tens of thousands of dollars, all because his parents made a YouTube channel dedicated to making quirky challenge videos with their children. By the way, that type of content grows really fast on YouTube. No, but seriously, I know you've seen someone like that in your lifetime and immediately started judging your own life in comparison to theirs. Scrolling social media is like a massive guilt trip. Passing by all these examples of rich, attractive, and successful icons in your life, forcing your brain by default to assume the whole world is like this. Our third area is expectation. Expectations heavily shape your experience. Let me give you an example. Imagine two people go to the same restaurant. Person A expects it to be a 5-star premium dining experience with Gordon Ramsay himself showing up. I'm exaggerating, but you get it. Meanwhile, person B keeps their expectations at a respectably valid amount considering their bias towards the restaurant. They sit down, order the exact same food, have the exact same experience, and leave. Person A rambles on about how mediocre that restaurant was, while person B's thinking to themselves, that was actually really good. At the end of the day, the higher your expectations are, the easier it is to feel disappointed. The fourth area is sadly less avoidable than others, and that's adaptation. When you were a kid, you would have always wanted a proper phone because you were tired of your beat-down 2009 Apple iPad in which the charging port has stopped working. Well, fast forward to now, and you have a phone, and you're probably watching this video on one. If not, I respect you. The point is, what you always wanted as a kid is now in your hands. Your mind has adapted to any improvements you've ever come across in your life. The time it takes for your baseline to reset will vary depending on how effective the improvement was to your life. New haircut, cool for a day. New laptop, cool for a week. New car, cool for a month. You see what I'm getting at here? One of the only ways you can beat the struggles of adaptation is to, yes, I know it sounds corny, but to practice being grateful for basic everyday things. Remember, perspective is very easy to influence. That brings us to our final and most important area. It's the secret formula to achieving everything you've ever wanted to be, every life you've ever wanted to live, every story you've ever wanted to. We get it, bro. The key to everything is you. In the end, I'm just a guy talking to you through a screen. No matter how deep and profound I can explain things to you, there's really not much I can actually do to improve your life, since you are the only one who can take action. Your story matters more than your situation. It's you that chooses what happens next after you get fired from your job or break up with who you thought was your future wife. Now, this doesn't mean you should pretend that everything is amazing, because it isn't. If your life genuinely needs improvement, fix it. You just need to understand that changing your perception can change your experience. Here are some real ways to do that. Don't lie to yourself. See everything for what it truly is. This is one of my first long-form videos, so subscribing would be heavily appreciated. I'll see ya.